People tryna say I'm only enemy. Got a code with my dogs, can get in between. I can give them life, no more energy. Amen. Amen.
What is up, everybody? We are back, and we got football, division round football to be precise. Today we got the Bills facing against the Broncos and the Seahawks going against the 49ers. I'm with my man JJ as always, and special guest. You guys have heard us mention him a lot throughout the show. I promise it's all good things too. We got Monotone Football here. How you fellas doing?
I'm doing great, man. It's playoff football. This is what we wait for all year. It's what we suffer through those, Saints, Panthers, primetime games, and we finally get stuff like this.
Yeah, I'm so excited for this. And now we got one of the best in the business to, break it all down.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be a fun stream. We're gonna have people in the chat as well, feeding us some winners and talking ball with us. And we're gonna have a good time, both before the games and during the games. We can get things started off with the Bills and Broncos game. I think this is the one I've seen discussed more on social media because there's a lot of people that are like, oh, Josh Allen in the playoffs, he never wins. But then obviously pretty much all his losses come versus Mahomes. And the Broncos have Bo Nix at quarterback, who the community isn't exactly high on. Before we get into props, I'm kind of curious on what your guys' takes are on who's going to win the game and how close it's going to be.
It's going to be pretty close. It honestly depends on how well Bo Nix plays, I think. That's going to be like the biggest determining factor, just trying to control time of possession because the Bills will do it. They have no problem doing it with James Cook and Josh Allen just extending drives. I think it also comes down to how well that blitz is going to perform too. That Broncos blitz, they love the blitz, but they can also get pressure without blitzing too. So it makes me think, is there that slight chance where Vance Joseph says, no, we're not going to blitz? And then, get some pressure on Josh Allen. Because I know we were talking about that last night for so long.
It's Josh Allen is weirdly a lot better when teams blitz. So then when he got, like, we all saw him in that primetime game against Houston struggle a lot because they can get pressure without blitzing. And yeah. I mean, like, that was one of the worst games I've seen Josh Allen have in a long time. But kind of like JJ said, Broncos like to blitz. Warren Sharp put up a great video breaking down the numbers and past matchups where this defense has faced Josh Allen, where they had success not blitzing in the first half, and then Josh Allen took over in the second half when the Broncos came out and blitzed. So coordinators can be stubborn with their scheme. I kind of lean that that's what's going to happen, but they've had a lot of time to prepare for this one. I wouldn't be surprised if they big brain it and actually get away from blitzing in this one. Stu, what's your take on both that and just the game as a whole, obviously?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a tough one. Obviously, anytime you have a money line this close, it's interesting because, right, the Bills have the best individual player in the playoffs right now, and then the worst surrounding cast, right? Like the rest of that squad is, I would say, the lowest talent level we have in the playoffs outside of the quarterback position. So can Josh Allen be Superman? Can he overcome all of this? I think I'd be a little bit more willing to back it if we had Josh Allen at 100% on the ground in particular, right? His rushing ability has kind of been limited with this ankle injury, with getting banged up over and over. He's mostly just a 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 back at this point. You're not getting those Josh Allen 20-yard scrambles. You're getting him on high leverage rushing down. So like when Josh Allen has to play Superman, when he doesn't have a lot of weapons around him, it's just kind of like how much of this can he do himself against a Broncos team that, I mean, not only is well-rounded on defense, best offensive line in football as well. I just think there are probably more ways for the Broncos to win this one. But as this game gets closer and closer, if you're a live bettor, right? If you have a tie game going into those last couple of drives, and one side is Josh Allen and the other side is Bo Nix, it's like Sean Payton can't scheme you out of everything. He can set up a great game plan. He can take advantage of a terrible rush defense. But, I mean, there's only so much you can do on the fourth quarter when you're staring over against Josh Allen. So I would lean towards the Broncos, but I also would not mind like a last-minute live bet on the Bills in a close game,
That's exactly where I'm at.
Yep. I think it's either Broncos by like 20 or Bills in a close game. I think you hit it right on the nail. As far as the player props. We'll use that to segue into a little bit. Obviously, some of these are going to be game script dependent. We'll start specifically with the rushing side because I argue that's more game script dependent. The Bills' rushing defense has been atrocious all year. If you guys have watched any of these live streams where a Bills game has occurred, you've heard us just complain about how bad they are for probably 10 minutes at a time. But they get Ed Oliver back today, so we don't think that that's going to fix all the problems, but it isn't nothing either. I'm kind of curious on whether Sean Payton's coming into this and making less of a run game plan than he would have if Ed Oliver wasn't playing, or if he's going to test the waters and see, let's see if Ed Oliver can really play, or if this is just a playoff game and he's forcing it. So what's obviously no J.K. Dobbins in terms of the efficiency for the Broncos run game. It hasn't been good since he's been out. RJ Harvey, McLaughlin, all that has been a hot topic for a few weeks now, and especially this week. Do you guys have a favorite out of that backfield, or is it just stay away from the whole thing?
I think for me, probably McLaughlin. I feel like he's just been the most efficient back, and he's always good to possibly break off a 15 or 20 yarder at any point. But I mean, what do you think, Stu?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of McLaughlin love from a lot of smart people this week. So it's interesting. Like, I think he's going to get his 5-6 carries. I don't think we're going to see like 10 or anything like a huge adjustment. But I have my concerns with RJ Harvey as well. Like, I like the talent. I liked him coming out of college. But man, if this was J.K. Dobbins, I would have, a large play on J.K. Dobbins in this game as the lead back. But I just don't trust Harvey in that role. 3.5 yards per carry since Dobbins went down, I believe 3.3 as the starter. And his advanced stat profile is not very good either, struggling in the success rate department. He can break off a 20-yarder, but he can't necessarily chunk together those 6-7 yard runs, which you kind of need in a game like this. So I could see them definitely going to McLaughlin to get around, that 20-yard mark, which I see is mostly where his props are, but probably not like a ladder guy. I don't know if he's necessarily going to get a ton of volume. For me, I'd rather go to Harvey in the receiving game, right? He's not a running back that has to wait for those third down dump offs. He's not someone that only gets those panic screens. They call design plays for him to get him the ball in space. Early down catches are very high value, and Harvey gets a decent amount of those. So if the run game is struggling, especially early, I could see them just kind of switch to that quick passing game as a good way to get Harvey the ball in space. No Bernard as well for the Bills linebacker core. They're down Poyer in the safety room as well. Just some good tacklers are no longer in the game. But do I trust Harvey in like the traditional run game? I'm kind of 50-50. But I will say the whole world hated on the Jags for not running enough last week. So that's got to be in your ear a little bit going into this one, because it worked and they didn't run the ball. I don't think Payton's going to make that same mistake.
No, he won't.
I completely forgot about how much I complained about that Jags play calling last week. For a team that I had never, my Travis Etienne bet hit, so I wasn't even complaining about that. I have no stake in the game in terms of a future bet or a fan of either team, but to watch them have as much success on the ground as they did and not run it and not be in a game script where they were forced to pass baffled me. They deserved to lose that game.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull up McLaughlin's graph here just to kind of show everybody. He's been doing pretty well lately. So this is his game log without J.K. Dobbins, and his line's at 22.5. Some people have gotten at 21.5 and 20.5, which could be a key line with how some of these other games have gone. But 5+ carries in the last 3 games, 4+ in every game except for one. So if that's where we think he's going to end up in that 5 to 7 range, it looks pretty good for that 22.5 line. As an RJ Harvey dynasty owner, I have to have some bias here and say this is the game where he's going to go off everybody. I promise. It's going to be like, you guys remember when Gabe Davis, everybody hyped him up preseason and then he kind of didn't do much, and then the playoffs showed up and he had 4 touchdowns or whatever in that one game. I'm just going to cope and say that that's what RJ Harvey's going to do today. But yeah, then we can get into the other side of the run game with the Bills. James Cook, probably a top 3 running back in the NFL this season. He's looked really good. The Bills' offensive line has held up pretty good. But the common theme for the rest of this game is going to be that Broncos defense is really good. I'd argue they're better in the pass game than they are in the run game. So maybe it's still in the favor of the Bills to lean onto the run. But where do you guys stand on that?
Yeah, I mean, we were talking a little bit before, so I'll start here. I like James Cook, actually. I know a lot of people really do not like James Cook. I've seen a lot of under stuff for him in this game, and I understand why, right? The Broncos, on paper, are a very good run defense. I will add, these two teams played in the playoffs last year. The Broncos came in an even higher rated rush defense, and James Cook went 23 for 120 in that game. So it's not like he's going to be bad. We've seen this team run on good run defenses as well. And when you think of the Bills, you think of Josh Allen. Like, I get why. He is the face of this team. He's the franchise. But the Bills have been a negative pass rate over expectation team all year. The reason everyone keeps talking about the Bills having the best pass defense in football is because the Bills lead the league in time of possession. They dominate. They have the ball in their hands a ton, and you can't throw the ball against them if you don't have the ball. So how do you sustain these long drives? How do you make sure the other team's offense isn't on the field to exploit your bad defense? You run the ball a shit ton. And I've even joked about it at times because they get a lot of blowback for running so much. I always say that I feel like Brady's contractually obligated to give James Cook his 20 carries a game. And when you're watching, it does feel that way, but it's not by accident. They want to keep Josh Allen out of these clear passing down situations. They want to use their great offensive line to their advantage, and they want to control the flow of the game. And James Cook is going to have to be a big part of that. I would say, once again, Josh Allen rushing, if he was 100% healthy, I think that would need to be a big part of it. But if he's not out there, if he's not, pulling off those designed runs as much, you just have to lean even more on Cook. Once again, Ty Johnson, a backup, a guy who's been very good in the receiving game this year, high ankle sprain, questionable for this game, was in a walking boot last week. So it's not like they have a ton of reinforcements. Ray Davis also fumbled on special teams last week, which is not necessarily a positive sign if you want to see him getting additional volume. I think no matter really what the game script is, I think there has to be a lot of James Cook because what are you going to do? Are you going to pass to, Keon Coleman on Patrick Surtain? Like, you can only throw the ball against this high-end secondary so much. And I think James Cook needs to keep him honest. He needs to get him into 2nd and 5, 2nd and 6, 3rd and 1, and keep moving those chains. So I like James Cook rush attempts. I think he's being a little bit undervalued. His normal line is 19.5, 20.5. You're getting 17.5 for this game.
Yeah. And I think just to add on to that, we have to remember they were saving him for playoffs. Remember, by about mid-season, by week 6 or 7, they're like, all right, we're going to tone down your rushing volume a little bit. And now it's here. This is the time to use him. Jacksonville, he was just not going to be able to do anything. That's probably arguably the best run defense in the league, right? I mean, they haven't allowed anyone over 75 rushing yards. That's tough, so everything was going to be through the air in that game. It's just going to be a pass funnel. Now, I mean, kind of getting the opposite here. You're not necessarily saying Broncos are going to be a run funnel, but I mean, you got to pick your poison and figure out where the weakness is, and that's probably the biggest weakness they have to attack. So I think they just have to lean on the run game here.
Yeah, I just found the quote from September 29th. Offensive coordinator Joe Brady said, James Cook is playing at such a high level, but we want him playing in January and February, so we have to be smart with his usage. We have too good of a running back room for him to be the only one toting the rock. And like Stu said, there's the concerns with Ray Davis and ball security and the health of Ty Johnson. So this was the plan all along, and that too good of a running back room is not even healthy outside of James Cook. Why would you not just spam James Cook over and over again? And Stu made a good point of let me fix the screen here. Yes, it is a more difficult running matchup, but at the same time, if you filter for good passing defenses, which this one is, we see that I'm filtering out blowout games where Buffalo has blown out teams and guys have gotten subbed out early. It's still pretty, like 17 carries pretty consistently. Obviously, the matchup might be a little bit more concerning on the efficiency side, so attempts probably make more sense than yards. But just for the sake of making the argument about game script and plans based on matchup, filter for good pass defenses. Again, there's a lot of green on that graph. So I think we're all in agreement that it doesn't really matter who the matchup is. The Bills want to run the ball. And unless they can't run the ball, they will run the ball. So I do like the James Cook train a lot today. Let's finish things off with the passing game. Do we want to start with the Bills or the Broncos? Stu, you're the guest, so I'll let you decide which one we talk about first.
We can start with the Bills. I will say, someone in chat is responsible for that, AJJ96, because he said nobody's liking Curtis Samuel for one catch, and I'm with you. I like that. So I wanted to highlight that one especially. The biggest problem is just no one's posting this. It's on like 1-2 sports books right now, which is kind of the bummer. But yeah, I like Curtis Samuel. I think he sneaks in there. No Gabe Davis, no Shavers. How does he not play at least 40% of snaps in this game? And at that point, I'll take him for a catch with Josh Allen out there.
Yeah, you think 30 to 40% of the route share, he's got to get at least one or two targets, you know. And with him being a low A dot type of player, a gadget player, it's pretty likely he's going to get a catch.
This is game log this year for both routes and receptions. The only game he didn't get a reception was his lowest route run game of the season against Carolina with 8. Let me see if he got a target that game. He didn't get a target that game. So all the other ones he got a target where he ran at least 10 routes. Stu, you think Curtis is running 10 routes?
I do. I definitely do.
Yeah, that's a pretty damn good bet. Is there receiving yards by any chance?
It's like 0.5 juiced up as well.
I see. So 5.5 on MGM is what's showing up here.
Okay.
I don't know if that's right. We just added the odds feature, so I could be wrong. But let's check. I know he's more get it in his hands and let him run, but the air yards are fairly there too. Is it too aggressive to say ladder?
I don't think so.
You give him 2 catches, one of them in space. 20 yards could be pretty light for him.
Yeah.
5.5 on FanDuel. Are they finally putting it up?
Looks like it. That's a good sign.
Oh, wow. That's perfect timing. Let's see if he's on any other. Curtis Samuel. He's not showing up on Odds Jam right now, so maybe it's with like just added. But there you go. Oh, there's a -118 on Novig, -119 on ProfitX. So there you guys go. For anybody who wants to take that Curtis Samuel bet, go and beat Stu to it.
Yeah, I'm trying to see on. I don't see it up on FanDuel right now, but
yeah, could it be like a Canadian FanDuel? I know that happens sometimes where somebody in my Discord would be like, "Oh, I just bet this." I'm like, "Well, it's not an option in the States." Let's see, Curtis Samuel. I see touchdown score. Yeah, I'm not seeing any yardage bets. We'll keep an eye on it. I got him on Bet365 -150. There you go. So Bet365 and MGM are the only ones we're seeing right now. The rest of the passing game for Buffalo, like we just kind of talked about, Shavers is already out. There's not a lot of healthy bodies there. Keon Coleman, a guy who's been a healthy DNP for multiple games this season, is pretty much the primary outside receiver in this one. Khalil Shakir has been a not popular option just because he's really like the only trustworthy wide receiver they have, with Kincaid also banged up. I have a lot of trouble reading this room because I'm also very high on the Denver secondary. Everybody's been hyping up the Texans secondary for the last 8 weeks. They've been going crazy. I still think Denver's like a whole tier ahead of them. Maybe I'm alone in that take, but yeah, I saw that suit.
I disagree.
That's fine. We can argue. We can argue. Can we argue? Can we agree they're top 2? Or is there somebody else you have ahead of the Broncos?
Yeah, no, they're probably top 2.
All right,
yeah.
There we go. I can live with that. I think I'm on an island with this take, so I'm not taking it personally. But regardless, they're very good. Keon Coleman is not exactly somebody that gets open at a high rate. Shakir is going to get a lot of attention. Dawson Knox fills in as like the receiving tight end, but they got Kincaid to be the receiving tight end, and he's not 100% healthy. It doesn't look good for the Bills passing attack outside of this Curtis Samuel bet, of course. But is there any spots that you guys like to pick on for an over or an under for that sense?
I mean, I took Brandon Cooks today over 28.5. I think week 17 and then wild card, he's had like 46% route participation. I think that's turned in, I think, 5 targets last week. I don't remember what he had week 17. I think it was around 5 targets as well. But I mean, he just looks like he's one of the trusted receivers, especially with no shavers. And we also forgot there's no Joshua Palmer either.
That's the one I was forgetting.
Yeah.
Yep.
Where was it? I had it open.
What are you looking for?
Just like the route share data and all that. So, I mean, if we look at week 17 and the wild card round, because obviously they rested pretty much in week 18. I mean, Shakir 32% first read rate, and then Brandon Cooks is at 20.4%. And if you look at targets, those two are the only ones that have double-digit targets the last 2 weeks if you're looking like total. I think he just has to be that guy for me here. I don't mind them taking a deep shot with him either. I think that's very possible here, especially if they maybe want to target Riley Moss, potentially get like a downfield flag or something. But I mean, it looks like they're mixing him in the slot and out wide, so he's going to get moved around a lot. And I think with the route share, I mean, 28 yards should be doable here.
Yeah, the guy's got an average depth of target of 20. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's arguably one catch in this game. And he obviously had most of the design deep shots last week. And I just like that he goes in the slot too, like you said. McMillan's good in the slot. Like to your kind of cornerback thing earlier, I think that's kind of what it comes down to is like if you would say McMillan's really underrated, you know, then I think that could elevate their coverage group, because I think McMillan has been really good in the slot this year as well. I think Riley Moss is kind of the weaker point, at least in that secondary, especially like you said with penalty yards, because that's what I'd be scared of, honestly. Broncos have a lot of penalty yards this year. Like that could mess up your kind of bomb. But no, I like Brandon Cooks. He's the guy I would pick 100%. I think ladders are in play. I mean, he's the wide receiver one at 28 yards, you know, so there's definitely some upside there.
Yep.
I would say, I mean, I could be wrong about this, but I feel like when I watch the Bills play, it's similar to the Lions team. They don't really throw contested targets as much. It's more like into space. So I guess that would be my only thing, kind of relieving Riley Moss of his errors. But I do agree there. And we all know the type of, it's not like Brandon Cooks just got in the league. We all know the type of receiver he is. He's through and through a big play guy that is capable of other things. So I do like it. If we've kind of talked about already how the Bills want to run the ball a lot, if the Bills do get ahead of this game, do we think Allen's still throwing like 27, 28 times? Or is it going to hit a wall?
I think 27, 28 times is doable for him. I think even if they're, because I mean, they're going to, you think about it, if they're leading, they're controlling time possession, they're still going to throw even on third and medium still, third and short sometimes, just because, you know, they want Josh Allen to have the ball in his hands. They'll probably run like a little RPO or play action or something. I think it's got to be there. 27, 28 should be doable.
Yeah, I'm checking non-blowout wins. It seems like he's still, you're kind of right. He's getting 28 or more in every game except for 2 against New Orleans and Cleveland. And that Cleveland game was a disaster.
Yeah.
Anything else in this game that we should touch on before we move on to game number 2 of the night or of the day?
I just think the tight end room is so big for the Bills. Dalton Kincaid, I feel like we have to say this, is built in a lab to be amazing in this matchup, right? The problem is he has a PCL injury. Those have been brutal this year. Like, he's playing 50% of snaps. You're getting a part-time player. He's coming in on clear passing downs only. So it's like Dalton Kincaid really should be efficient. Maybe if you get a real low, like, live line, if they're rushing early, you see a lot of Dawson Knox out there. Maybe you take a passing line if the Bills go down on Kincaid, because get him on whatever Percocet Aaron Rodgers takes. Like, this guy needs to be out there and he needs to be involved. Like, Hufanga, fantastic safety, but takes a lot of risks, not great in coverage. Teams target Singleton a lot in coverage as well at the linebacker position. They don't really have a running back to take advantage as much, with Ty Johnson possibly out. That could be Kincaid. Like, the guy needs to have a good game. I can't trust him when he's a part-time player and when those other two tight ends like Dawson Knox could easily go over his line as well. So that's kind of the tricky thing. It's just which tight end steps up. I told you guys before, I do like their third string, Jackson Hawes, at one catch at plus money at like plus 120. The dude's a great blocker. If you go through some of the Broncos linebacker coaches' quotes about him as well, he brought him up in particular. Like he's going to be out there for these heavy personnel sets. And I think he might sneak away and grab a catch. But the tight end room is going to be big. I just don't know which big white guy it's going to be.
I love it. We were talking before we joined the stream, and I forgot about it, about Dalton Kincaid and that injury. And he had 20 routes last week. If we filter for 18 this season for this 36.5 line, it looks pretty good. And the Broncos run a lot of cover one. Usually not what you target for tight ends, but for tight ends that are matchup nightmares like this, it could work to your advantage. And we have seen that work to his advantage in other games when we filter for teams that do run it a lot. So if he's healthy, I'm 100% in on Kincaid. I think if I knew for sure he was healthy, I would have bet him, maybe laddered him. That's really my only concern. But, I mean, it's the playoffs. There's going to be so many guys playing through injuries. There's probably 20 guys that are going to be on the field at any given moment that are playing through an injury that was never even reported and we don't know about. So this just happens to be one that is reported. So I agree with you on Kincaid. I absolutely do love that. I forgot about the one that I am officially on until somebody mentioned it in the chat. I'm on Pat Bryant receiving yards. The matchup isn't ideal. Like we said, the Bills are a big run funnel, but with Ed Oliver back, it could lean more towards the pass. If we filter for games where he has at least 24 routes run, he's going over his 31.5-yard line pretty frequently. And the Bills are a lot better on the outside than I'd say they are on the inside. So I think that's where Pat Bryant can fill in a little better here. If we want to filter in for some of the coverages, he's had some of his better games against these cover two heavier matchups. And I think it's just a volume play. He's a good receiver that's on the field a lot with a low line. I think it just makes a lot of sense. Now I think that's all the ones we wanted to cover. We can get into some of the questions here. Who will Surtain be on the whole game in terms of just who he's covering? I don't think there's anybody on the Bills that warrants him shadowing all over across the field. Do you guys think they just stay on one side and whoever's lined up there is lined up there?
Yeah,
Yep.
pretty much.
Love it. Could we get an end zone, king of the end zone play? And can we talk about Keon Coleman? He's got to be running hella routes today. Is the end zone promo only for this game or both games combined? I'd say that's my question because I haven't looked into the promo yet. If it's just for this game, what would you guys say is your favorite?
Marvin Mims.
Oh, you're going to make JJ very happy with that one.
Yeah.
I love Marvin Mims. I love gadget players in general, but I mean, he's minus 200 to get a rush attempt. He's also 12.5 yards. Like he's likely to get some interesting usage. And I mean, we know Sean Payton is a creative guy. He likes to get crafty. He's had a whole week to play Madden, get some ideas out there, like I'm sure he's ready to go. And Mims just makes sense. He could also get a deep bomb, like a lot of different ways, in my opinion, for Marvin Mims.
Yeah, Marvin Mims, he'd probably be one of my favorites too. Just attacking the underneath, I think it sets up perfectly for him. Probably getting a couple design plays. Because one of the plays I was looking at was like his 2 receptions. Like I feel like if they are targeting underneath routes, then like he'd probably be the perfect one to do for that. So, I mean, he's always good to rip off a huge play just because how versatile he is.
I'm tougher. I do like this game more for touchdowns than I do the Seahawks game, and we'll get into why in a second. I think I might just have to join you guys in the Marvin Mims one because I'd say the other options, Cortland Sutton, I'm not super excited about. Troy Franklin doesn't do much when Pat Bryant's active, but Pat Bryant's also not like a 40-yard touchdown kind of guy. I guess it would really just be Marvin Mims or like James Cook is the other obvious one. And then if you want to have a lot of fun, you can do defense and special teams and hope somebody houses a kick return because that would basically be an automatic win. But those would probably be my takes. There's no need to go get like a Ty Johnson or something just for the sake of chasing a larger payout. All right. And then let's see. Who do you guys lean for the money line? I go back and forth. I think the Broncos should win, but from a betting perspective, I think there's more value on the Bills side. As long as they're plus money, I think they are. I think this is a pretty 50-50 game, though.
Yeah. This is the toughest game to choose the money line for.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I almost feel like the Broncos, or I don't like saying trap games because I think that's like conspiracy theorist thing to say when people say that, but it does feel that way a little bit. Like there's no reason they should have opened up as underdogs. Everybody hammered him. I'm assuming most of the money is on the Broncos at home with a bye, and it just feels like Josh Allen's going to do some stupid Josh Allen thing that everybody complains about for their bets in the third quarter. Bo Nix over 1.5 passing touchdowns. My reluctance for that one comes from something I'm going to share on the screen right now. Is when you look at where defenses funnel touchdowns to, it's something that me and JJ had some pretty good success with this year. Buffalo is second highest in percentage of rushing touchdowns allowed. So it's like if they're only going to score 2 touchdowns, the odds of both of them being passing touchdowns are pretty low based off of this. But in the last 3 games, not a single touchdown they've allowed has come through the ground. So I could see the argument for it, but I'm more likely to bet on the larger sample size there for something that has been working for us so far this season. I lost that. Where'd it go? Oh, here we go. We already answered some of these. I like Troy Franklin lines. They're so low. Bo targets him so much. With the emergence of Pat Bryant, I think it's directly eaten into Troy Franklin's usage.
Yeah, I think you got to throw away the entire first half of the season and look at specifically when Pat Bryant is kind of emerged. Because it's 2 different splits completely.
Stu, I know you were talking to something about the matchups for Troy Franklin specifically. It might have been, I can't remember if it was at the start of the stream or before we got going.
Well, yeah, it's just the cornerback room for the Bills is good. Like Trey White's been playing great, and that's who Franklin's mostly going to see. Franklin doesn't get in the slot a ton. Like he does a little bit, but he's going to be outside cornerback too a lot of the time. That's a tough matchup. And if Benford isn't shadowing, then it's either Benford or White. So I'd much rather go in the slot. I'd much rather go short over the middle than deal with that cornerback matchup. And once again, the Bills try to limit those explosive plays. That's kind of what Franklin relies on. So yeah, just not a ton of interest for Franklin for me.
We are all in agreement then. And let's see. Tempted to take Brandon Cook's longest reception prop. Stu and JJ convinced you.
Yeah.
Let's see. Those are for the next game. Josh Allen over 19.5 completions. I think it's going to entirely depend on whether the Broncos blitz him or not. And I don't think at least I can't say for 100% confidence on what that game plan is going to be.
Yeah, I lean more towards the under on that one, just because there's a lot more ways I see the under hitting than the over. You kind of need a specific game script, you know?
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be kind of a slow game, like for both sides. All right, let's start getting Bo Nix interception is the last one. I would stay away only for the sake of if that run defense does continue to be bad, even with Ed Oliver coming back. That rush to pass split is going to be ridiculous, and there's just not going to be much chances for interception. So that would really be my only take there. All right, let's get into the Seahawks-Niners game. I think it's one that most people are more excited for, and there's a lot to talk about. So some of the biggest news pieces to cover is Sam Darnold apparently hasn't thrown a ball since his injury, so it's been a few weeks now. Not even like just limited practice, just has not thrown a ball. Not what you want to hear the day of a playoff game against a division rival. And then the Niners obviously will have no George Kittle. I believe Ricky Pearsall is going to be active in this one, so that one does help. But I think the absence of George Kittle is going to hurt a lot more than the limited ability of what may be Sam Darnold. Is there any other big headlines I'm missing in this one?
Well, I'd guess Trent Williams back, obviously in their final game that these two teams played each other, he was not in, which is kind of a big deal. But like you said, you kind of lose a lot of that with George Kittle going out, because what people appreciate about George Kittle is the receiving game, but what people don't really is that he's the best blocking tight end in football while being one of the best receiving tight ends in football. So that's going to hurt a lot not having that. But at least they get Trent back. Obviously, everyone knows how good Trent Williams is, one of the best players of the generation, you know.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the splits with George Kittle on and off the field for Christian McCaffrey, specifically in the running game, is not good. It's not what you want to see. So I need to look at what the sample size is specifically when Trent Williams is off and Trent Williams is on and George Kittle's off. Maybe that clears it up a little bit, but I am very hesitant on trusting the running game of the 49ers. And then the pass game, I think Shanahan's going to try and get in his bag a little bit because he has options. He has Ricky Pearsall. He has Juwan Jennings. Christian McCaffrey's always going to be a weapon. Jake Tongs has been pretty good in the absence of George Kittle this season. And then you throw in the interesting looks of Hughes check in there and Demarcus Robinson. So there's options for the Niners, just only in the passing game, really, is the way that I look at it. Is there somebody asked in the chat about Brian Robinson? He's at 6.5 rushing yards. Probably hits. I don't want to watch that. Because if he doesn't get on the field, or he gets on the field for one snap and gets 3 yards, you are going to be killing yourself in the sense that it's going to be the game plan is 100% Christian McCaffrey unless we can't. So unless you think Christian McCaffrey is going to be injured at any point, you're putting yourself through misery that almost isn't worth what you might win on the bet, not even accounting for the potential of losing the bet. But I think that's pretty much what you need to cover on the Niners running side. For the Seahawks, the idea is you want to lean on the run game because Sam Darnold hasn't thrown in a while and the Niners run defense isn't great. But also Kenneth Walker has been pretty hit or miss. Charbonnet, people haven't been really excited to watch for various reasons. I think this could turn into an uglier game than people expect for these running game deficiency reasons. Do you guys have any optimism on the Seahawks running game?
I mean, with the Seahawks in general, I mean, if you look at the 49ers run defense, it just has not been good the entire second half of the season. And then when you filter for just the zone concepts, they've been by far the worst in the league since week 10. I mean, success rate as well. I mean, 67% success rate is ridiculous. Yep. For what, like an 8-game sample size? Yeah. It's pretty hard to do worse than that.
Yeah.
I think my thing with this one is just Seattle's run game's been clunky all year. It's just been they run a lot. It just hasn't been super efficient. They got it figured out more in the second half. I was big on Saquon last week. That was my biggest bet of the week. And a lot of it was just because I believe that the 49ers have a minor league defense right now. And Salah's doing a great job with what he has. They just don't have much. I will say their rookie duo their run defense played a lot better when those guys were on the field than when they weren't last week. So I would imagine they get an uptick in snaps, and frankly, that might make their run defense look a little bit better. But mostly the issue is I just don't know who it's going to be, right? Is it going to be Walker? Is it going to be Charbonnet? I think one of them has success, but do I feel good enough about their rushing attack where both guys are going to go over their numbers? I don't know. So then it gets into a trickier kind of guessing game where Charbonnet's been playing more recently, but Walker's the more explosive back. So it's I don't have a true dog in this fight. I don't know if you guys have taken a side. I think maybe if I had to, gun to my head, I go Charbonnet over Walker. Just he's been a little more consistent. They trust him on those short downs, but it's just a tough call in my opinion, kind of deciding which one to back.
Yeah, gun to my head, I did pick Sharp for this. I mean, 10 yards lower, and they're getting pretty evenly split snaps since week 13. I think it just makes the most sense if you had to pick one, it'd probably be Sharp.
I think I'm with Sharp too, just because it keeps him a little bit more versatile. And in the pass game, they seem to like him more as a blocker than Walker.
Yeah.
And if the priority right now is more than likely going to be protecting Darnold on the passing downs, you don't want to show your hand before you even snap the ball. So I think it keeps the offense a little bit more versatile and keeps the defense guessing. So I'm never excited to bet on Zach Charbonnet, but I think it makes way too much sense not to, at least in comparison to Kenneth Walker. But if anybody's going to break off that 30-yard run, it's going to be Kenny.
Yeah.
If there was a combined team, because I think Bet365 has this, FanDuel might, I haven't checked, a combined rushing yards prop, would you guys be interested in it? Or is it just, would you prefer just Sharp?
Yeah, I think so.
I think,
Only
yeah.
bummer is no quarterback rushing upside because normally it'll be team rushing yards, right? Not just two backs. So you like when you have a little upside there. But no, I like the combined. I mean, I think if you like them to win this game, which they're fairly big favorites, you kind of have to. But this injury just throws a lot of randomness into this game, man, with Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if it's Drew Lock in the second drive. Like, then everything we're saying right now doesn't matter at all. We're probably seeing stacked boxes all day long, and it's like, oh God. So it scares you a little bit.
Oh yeah, if Sam Darnold was healthy, I was ready to ladder the spread. That's how confident I would have been in the Seahawks, but can't do that anymore. I know Alex is in the chat has been checking Bet365 at the stream. Can you check if there's a team rushing yards prop and maybe let us know what that number is if you can? In the meantime, we can get into some of the passing game, at least as much as we can for the Seahawks, because, again, we don't know how healthy Sam Darnold is. This is going to be a scenario where they're just like, hey, you're going to be kind of a decoy just to hand the ball off and make them think we're passing every here and there. But if he is healthy, Jackson Smith-Njigba is always topic number one when you talk about the Seahawks receiving game. In non-blowouts, he's pretty much locked in for 7 receptions and 100 yards, no matter who the matchup is. But if Darnold's healthy, then very well could be a blowout. If he isn't, then the volume might not be there. So I'm a little scared to tell everybody to bet on Jackson Smith-Njigba, but I'm also not going to tell anybody to take the under. That's kind of it's a very conservative take on Jackson Smith-Njigba, but I know people are going to ask about that, so I wanted to throw that out there. But then you get into the Cooper Kupp, Rashid Shaheed, AJ Barner looks. Is there anything that you guys are noticing on that front?
Nah, I don't know if you have a strong take. It's kind of like Shaheed has been disappointing, man. I had higher expectations, and I wish Torrey Horton wasn't injured, honestly. I think Torrey Horton rocks. Like, I think he's really good. But yeah, Shaheed, I couldn't back him. Kupp, just because that underneath stuff, like that would be a live bet for me, assuming it looks like they have to throw more. But in a neutral game, how much is Kupp really going to be involved? Like, I don't know. It'd probably be JSN or bust for me. But with Sam Darnold now, like maybe even at 75% versus 100%, like you just can't, I feel like, back 100-yard receiver at that high of a line. What I told you guys before I was kind of looking at would be like a first quarter ladder, right? Because the whole world has read these reports, right? It's no secret that Darnold is coming in banged up. So if I'm a coordinator, what are you trying to do to catch the defense off guard? It's immediately throw deep. Like say, oh, you've heard all this about his arm. We're gonna make you work for it early. And that secondary isn't very good for the 49ers. So I wouldn't mind like a JSN, like 40 first quarter yards kind of thing, just coming out the gate with like an instant deep bomb.
Yeah, bro,
I love it.
It's so bleak too. It's either perfectly fine or it's absolutely cooked. So I absolutely see the vision there. On the 49ers side, I think there's a lot more to talk about in the passing game. Kittle being out directly correlates to Christian McCaffrey doing well in the receiving game. I think last time Kittle was out, I don't even remember if it was a good matchup or not, but I was just like, yep, Christian McCaffrey receiving, get in the slip. I ended up missing the bet, but that was the only time Christian McCaffrey has missed his receiving yard line with Kittle out. However, I think this is going to be a very Christian McCaffrey-centered game plan. They're not going to be able to run very well, and I don't think they're as worried with Jennings and Pierce as they are with Christian McCaffrey. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get a playoff-specific game plan from the Seahawks here, trying to limit Christian McCaffrey. I don't think it's going to work, but I am more intrigued by the other pass-catching options on the 49ers because of that. Do we know exactly how healthy Ricky Pearsall is or no?
I'm not
Besides,
exactly sure, but
besides what he's saying in the media, which he's saying he's having trouble making like sudden movements and stuff, and that he's not going to be at 100% until he has time to rest, but he has no time to rest. So sounds like he's going out there at about 60%, if I had to guess from his interviews and stuff, but would not be something I would feel very confident in.
Yeah, Shanahan said we're not. This is like the most vague he could have answered this question, but a reporter asked him if Pierce was going to be on a snap count, and he said, "We wouldn't put him on a snap count. I saw improvement. He's still battling it, and that's why he's still questionable. We would never put a guy on a snap count in a playoff game, but we also understand where he's at, and that it would probably have to be different than his true status of when he's 100% healthy." So sounds like a whole lot of unhelpful information. But kind of like Stu said, I think that's about as much as we're going to get. If Pierce is not 100%, Kittle's not 100%, or Kittle's out, and the game plan is going to be Christian McCaffrey centric, it could be a nice Juwan Jennings game. We know I don't know how much of his contract is playoff incentive based. We know he bet on himself a lot with his contract, and they're going to need him in this one. Especially that run defense or that run offense isn't going to be there either. It's going to have. Do you guys feel good about Juwan Jennings in this one?
I don't.
I don't.
He's also banged up, by the way. He's been playing with massive ribs all year, like all year long. He's had multiple broken ribs early in the season, so I don't know. Jennings, he's like third in Juwan. He gets those clutch 12-yarders, but I don't know if there's going to be enough there for him. And the matchup's not good either, right? You got good corners on this side. I mean, Woolen's physical. He's not going to get much on him. I don't think he has a very great game, honestly. But maybe just because there's no one else, maybe he kind of forced 8 targets or something. That's kind of the way I see him going over. It's just a ton of volume.
That seems like how it always is with him, where it's like even in bad matchups, like bad first half, it's not looking good, and then he gets like 45 yards on a single drive with 4 targets, and suddenly it looks like he's been fine all game. I am personally just on the side of volume. I kind of agree. I'm not a huge fan of the matchup, but just out of the fact that there's not high on anybody else in the pass game, but I think they're going to have to pass. I think I'll say this: if you could bet on air yards, that would be a great bet for Juwan Jennings this one.
Yeah,
it would.
And the last one that I want to talk about that I know Stu likes as well is Juice, Kyle Juszczyk. This line's at 1.5 receptions. I think it was 12.5 receiving yards. He got 12 routes in the second half alone after George Kittle went down. I think he's had 9 or more routes in every game without George Kittle in the last 5 years, except for 1. And he has 21% targets per out run without George Kittle and with Brock Purdy this season. And I think going back to last season, it's pretty close as well. So I think they're going to need him. They need some sort of surprise, some trick up their sleeve in this matchup. They've seen this matchup too many times to count. And Kyle Juszczyk could exactly be that, especially in a short game or short yardage merchant, kind of like he is in the pass game. I think it makes a lot of sense. JJ, you're the only one that hasn't bet Kyle Juszczyk, if I'm not mistaken. So let's hear your take before we get to Stu.
I mean, I don't have any crazy take for it. It's just, I mean, the route share goes up. I mean, he gets the targets. I mean, kind of just got to go target him.
Stu, you're up. I just wanted to put JJ on the spot for a second.
What got me, right? And I had to pull up my write-up to get this. He lined up in 4 different spots, 5 in the backfield, 11 as the inline tight end, 8 times as in the slot, and 4 times out wide. They used him everywhere. It's not like he's just getting fullback snaps. They put him all over the place. And Tondres has been good, but when Tondres is running routes, he's going against high-level safeties, right? Whether it's Julian Love, who's come back and be great, whether it's Eamon Wari, who's playing more as a nickel now. Those are tough matchups one-on-one. Well, Juszczyk is likely a lot more going to be against linebackers, which is who you'd much rather target in this overall Seattle defense. So I would not plan on coming into the week betting on Kyle Juszczyk, right? That is not something that but really him lining up all over the place got me. Like, not because they're going to need these fullback sets with no George Kittle. They're going to need him to run block out there 100%. They already lead the league in fullback usage. So I think we see even more of that as a run blocker. And then you guys know Shanahan, he loves calling pass plays out of heavy formations, the play action, catching you off guard. Like, I just see a lot of different ways for Juszczyk to get a couple dump downs. And I mean, 49 last game. I mean, he came in and was good. He's been on all these good Niners teams. The trust factor is there. Who else do you think he trusts more on this team in terms of skill position players outside of CMC? I don't think there's anyone else.
I think before the season too, Shanahan was talking about him and saying like he's growing more and more accustomed to the tight end role specifically, and he's going to tight end meetings whenever they're having like going and watching film breakdowns and stuff, even though on paper he's not a tight end. And it's 4 scenarios like this. George Kittle goes down. In the past, like, oh shit, we're screwed, and that's kind of how we've been talking about him during the stream. But there is this added element now of Kyle Juszczyk that wasn't there as much in years prior. So big Juice fans today. Alex found the prop for the Seahawks, 108.5 rushing yards combined. I'd probably take that. If there's going to be any success with that run game, they're probably going to lean onto it with the Darnold injury. So I think that's playable for probably. I don't know if I'd put anything more than a unit, but I think it's worth a shot.
Yeah.
Sorry, going back to the Bills game real quick. Would it be safer to put James Cook 70 rushing yards, 17.5 carries, or Brandon Cooks 30 receiving yards?
I'd probably say Cooks.
I don't think either of them are very safe. I mean, Cook's the downfield bombs, and James Cook, you got to get 18 carries. So both of them are going to be tricky. One guy's guaranteed more volume, in my opinion, and that's Cooks, but that doesn't mean he's going to get there. So I wouldn't say, like, judging things on being safe is not something I recommend, because you get a lot of different, like Brandon Cooks is a high variance player. I like his downfield shots today, but if you're putting in like a 10-leg parlay, he's never going to be safe. He could just as well end with 4 targets for 0 yards,
Yep.
Do you think they directly correlate with the Bills winning or losing, or is it just a lot more volatile than that?
Yeah, pretty volatile. Like, I guess Cooks probably correlates more with the winning, I think, if you're looking for a related game script. Cook. They're the same name. Cook on the ground. Cooks would be more, I think, like they have to pass kind of game script, maybe trailing, maybe you throw in some RJ Harvey on the other side,
With it, somebody asked Juice over 2.5 targets on PrizePicks. I like the 1.5 receptions a lot more than the targets. I think 24 of his 28 targets this season have been deemed as catchable targets. I think most of the uncatchable ones were Mac Jones, and he's caught every single catchable target he's had this season. So I don't want to jinx anything, but if there's a very likely scenario where he ends on 2 targets, 2 receptions, and you're upset you didn't take the receptions line. So if you have the option for both, maybe you could split units, but I definitely like the 1.5 receptions more. All right, let's talk touchdowns, and then we get to talk parlays. So who's your guys' favorite for a touchdown in this one?
This one, probably Sharp. He's always gonna get to you get inside the 5, he's getting the ball.
I think Christian McCaffrey is obviously the option that's too easy, and then we can't pivot to Brian Robinson because he's not going to get on the field. Yeah. I like the San Francisco passing touchdowns probably more than I should. Seattle is 6th lowest in rushing touchdown percentage allowed, so I would like to target the air. I'd probably go Jennings because for whatever reason, whenever they get in the red zone, Jennings is like I'd argue he gets more targets inside the red zone than outside the red zone. At least in the film that I was looking at when I bet him last time. I can't remember. It was like one of the later weeks this season. So I'd probably go
that route. I might go Jake Tongas then too. That would be my pick for the favorite for passing.
That's where I'm at as well. Same here.
Tonjes, JJ said Sharp. I was gonna say nobody likes Seattle players.
Yeah.
All right, so I'd say Tonjes or Jennings are your probably two best bets in that game. We already kind of made our take on who's gonna win the game, so it's parlay time then. Let's see what boost we got on the books. We got the end zone one we already talked about. We have an all-purpose one on DraftKings for 20%. Another touchdown boost for 30%. Got a lot of boosts today. Is there another 30%? Oh, that's a live boost. And then FanDuel's probably giving a bunch as well. What are your... So, Stu, what we usually do is we have one like normal parlay where we either water it down a little bit or we take their normal lines for like 3 or 4 legs. And then we have one lotto leg. It's like plus 3,000, plus 4,000. So the first question I always ask JJ is, what is your leg from either game where you're like, if we walk out of this stream without this leg and it hits, you're absolutely going to be pissed?
That's a good question. Interesting. I mean, for either game, you said?
Either game, whatever you want. It can be a table tennis bet if you really want to.
Well, you don't have to worry about that for me. I don't have any inside connections like I did for the guy who just went down. So, I'm probably staying away from that. I mean, in terms of something we haven't talked about yet, I'll say Josh Allen anytime touchdown. Like, it's not good enough to use for some of these boosts, but he is their best like fullback on the team. He is their best 1 yard out carry option on the team. No one's been able to stop it. I would just run, their variation of the tush push from the 3 yard line. And then we bring in the fact that they're likely going to throw deep a couple times, and Broncos are towards the top of the league in defensive pass interference, right? So you're going to get those potentially one of those calls down to the 1. Like, I see a lot of different ways. And once again, Allen can't use his legs quite as well, but in those short yardage plays, I mean, he's getting the ball. He's top 10 in football in carries inside the 10 this year and inside the 5 among running backs that carried the ball 20 times a game. So I just feel like Allen, anytime touchdown, whenever they're down there, the first thought and the second thought is probably going to be, let's get the big dude in the end zone.
I like it. We can use him for the touchdown boost on DK. So he's minus 125 there. Him with Tonjes puts us at plus 620. I'm trying to think if there's any other leg we're missing that we mentioned for touchdown besides Jennings. I don't want to double dip with Jennings and Tonjes. JJ, do you want to throw Sharp in there?
We could throw Sharp in there.
You're okay with me making fun of you if it misses?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so that's going to be plus 1295 without the boost. With the boost, it puts us at plus 1684. I'll lock that in and get it on the screen here. A nice 0.05 unit limit on DraftKings. Thank you very much. Wouldn't expect anything less from the gentleman over there. All right, let's get into some of the props we like. I know I mentioned my two official plays have been Pat Bryant and Hughes check. What are some of the ones that you guys are really high on that you've made official and you'd love to see in the parlay as an option?
I mean, probably Cooks for me.
Brandon Cooks instead of James Cook?
Yeah.
And then Stu, what about you?
Let's see. I mean, we could do RJ Harvey receiving. I have that. I think he gets some work. I don't remember if I talked about that much earlier, but I like his receiving at like the 20 yards mark. Trying to think what else do we say. I know I'm on James Cook, but I wouldn't really put that in a parlay, honestly.
That could be part of the lotto side because, I mean, with his volume, if he breaks off a big one, that's how we could get to like 125 or something like that.
No, I agree. I have more guys for like long shots, like I like the Curtis Samuel, 2-3 catches. I like Marvin Mims, 2-3. Like I like some of those gadget guys as long shots.
Absolutely fair. Let me get the DraftKings parlay up on the screen while we go through this. So that's what we're using for the touchdown parlay on DraftKings. We still have, I think, 1 or 2 on DraftKings and then another one on FanDuel. We don't have to use them all, but we should at least use some of them. So for the Buffalo game, we said Cooks, Harvey. I do like the Harvey one. I'm gonna put the Pat Bryant 3 receptions in there because it's just super juiced. But I probably like that more than the receptions. So I'll throw that in as mine if I can find him on here. That'd be super helpful. And then you said you wanted RJ Harvey still?
I mean, if it doesn't overlap too much, I like both guys. I'm on Brian as well.
I think they're fine. I think Harvey is the only way. If Harvey's getting targeted, it's because Pat Bryant isn't open. But it's not like we need like 8 targets for each of them. So I think I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I'm good with it.
All right. So let's put you. Do you like receptions or receiving yards better?
Probably receiving yards. Honestly, I think he can break a big one.
Love it. And then, Jay, did you say Cooks? And did you have another one, or was it just him?
For this game, probably just Cooks.
All right. So that shakes out to be plus 425 on DraftKings. And then plus 334 on FanDuel. So I think we're going to play that on DraftKings. And then we need one more lotto type play. $5 max again. That's not what I wanted.
I just did the check for Curtis Samuel, boys. No, still nothing. Still nothing. They're keeping that away from us. I don't like the feeling of this. They have until 3:05. If we don't get anything by 3:05, I'm starting my hunger strike. So
somebody said, are you guys not feeling Shakir at all? Figured he won't be covered by Surtain. I just think his lines have properly steamed up. 5.5 receptions, and I don't remember what his yards are at. Usually he's like even a good match would be like 4.5 juiced up or 5.5 plus money. The fact that he's 5.5, and I think he's even favored over that, I feel like the matchup's already kind of priced in.
Yeah, and I think with Curtis Samuel back, like he's gonna lose some of those screen passes as well.
Yeah, I'm a huge Shakir guy in general. Draft the hell out of him in best ball every year because he's just undervalued. He's also a manager, and they're going to play like man in this game. Like McMillan's going to get up there in his face and try to – he's not just going to have those holes in the zone like normally. Maybe a couple, but just not like last week he had 5 free catches, just like literally like 2 yard, 3 yard, just to get him the ball immediately. I don't know if that's going to be as available in this game, but if they're trailing, then they're going to target the hell out of him.
Yeah,
I agree. Do we want to avoid any lotto looks in the San Fran game just because it doesn't sound like we're high on the passing game for either one or the running game for either one?
It's tough.
We I guess for the Niners side, we weren't that high on anybody from a lotto perspective, and then Darnold, yeah. Unless I'm forgetting something we mentioned.
I mean, if someone wants to take a shot on Ricky P, that would make sense. It's like a 30-yard catch, maybe combine that with a touchdown. Like when he's healthy, he can make a lot of guys miss. I don't trust that he's healthy. But like from a long shot stab, I could see that. And then I guess the receiving yards for the running backs. We've seen Kenneth Walker pull off a couple big catches. They like to get him the ball in early downs as well. That's like the only kind of long shot stuff I can think of. And like maybe Tonjes as well, just because he essentially gets the 1-to-1 Kittle role, but just a tougher matchup. I don't know. It's a tough ladder game.
It is. But it's like it's one of those where if you're right, you're going to be really right.
Yeah.
We can, I mean, shit, they're maxing me out at $5, so we can take our shot. Yeah, let's do it.
If I were, probably go Tongas.
Tongas Sharp. Let's see what's 50 plus for Tongas. Plus, that's not bad.
That is good. I was gonna say, what's CMC to lead the game in receiving yards? That's a long shot. I mean, the dude's at 50 already. Like, probably.
Why do I feel like that would be favored?
I mean, JSN's at 100. I mean, I don't know if you can put him as favored at double the yards, but probably closer.
I kind of forgot about JSN. I'm not gonna lie. Let's see what it is on FanDuel at least. Where'd it go?
It's 480 on FanDuel, so not great, but not terrible.
Yeah. Minus 145 for JSN. Now that you mentioned JSN, I feel like that should be higher.
Probably should be higher.
Minus 145. What is it on DraftKings?
Let's see. Yeah, that's not a terrible play, actually. Honestly, looking at
That
it.
might be an official play. I feel like just off principle, I almost have to, just with how good he's been. Like if that went minus 140 on DK, if that misses, I can stomach that miss.
Yeah, no, I think that's actually pretty solid. I mean, he's double the yards, you know. Like, I mean, it's pretty much just the oblique, I guess, is kind of the question mark. But
do we want to put the Christian McCaffrey in this lotto type, or just stick with Tonjes 50 plus?
well, they kind of go against each other, so yeah, I probably wouldn't put them in the same.
No, I'm saying one or the other. Like which one of the two?
I would say probably Tongas.
Yeah,
All right,
I agree with
there
that.
we go. And
I
then
mean, we've
what
been
we
targeting Seattle with tight ends all season. I mean,
were we saying, did we decide on Kenny or Sharp for the latter? I know we said for the straight we preferred Sharp, but I wasn't sure if that changed.
Yeah, I'd probably Sharp on rushing and Walker on receiving, even though that sounds kind of dumb because Charbonnet plays receiving like third downs. He gets more dump offs while Walker gets more like design plays, which I feel like he's a big play guy.
Let's see how often does Sharp actually climb a ladder?
Yeah, that's kind of second half a little bit more, I feel like, but
rushing yards on the season, the line's 47.5. Yeah, you're right. He has been a lot better in the second half of the season. Let's just assume they demolish run game, good rushing matchup. Doesn't really climb past 50. He's done it twice, 46 one time, 52. And then really good games versus Carolina and Arizona. If we just, let's say it's a bad passing matchup. Obviously it isn't, but for the sake of the funnel, I'd probably 50 is probably fair. A lot of games finishing just short of it. That's still only minus 108, so not really climbing a ladder. You still want to put that in then, or does that scare you guys off?
I'd probably go with the Walker receiving.
Let's do it. Nope, that's Jesus. Sorry about that. Let's check how often he's climbing receiving ladders. If we check light boxes, oh, for whatever reason, he absolutely demolishes when teams like to run light boxes. If we check routes run, let's assume it's 10. Then we got a few games finishing just below 20, but then 64, 30, 44, 29. What are the odds on his receiving ladders? For Kenneth Walker, 20 plus is plus 154. Would you guys want to go higher than that?
I mean, maybe like 25, but nah, I don't think you got to go too crazy, honestly.
Yeah. All right, so we'll do that, and Tonjes 50 plus. That gets us to plus 694. I think we need one more leg to get the boost, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see.
Can you parlay pass attempts on any of these books? Because Purdy pass attempts would be the best. Like I'd rather attempts than anything else. But if we all agree, they're not going to run.
I might add that as an official play, actually. See, this is what you do. So me and you we'll talk about the game and like evaluate the matchup and come to the same conclusion. But then I'm like, I never thought about Purdy pass attempts. And
yeah. I don't bet that market a ton. It's been on my mind all week, honestly. Just because I'm like, I want to bet CMC rushing under, but the line is so low that I'm like, what's kind of a similar bet? And Purdy pass attempts. And it's honestly came down a little bit. It opened at like 34, and now it's like 33. So I definitely co-sign the Purdy. But I don't think you can parlay that in a lot of books. I guess
you can't. Not on FanDuel, at least, which is what I was locking in for the boost. You can do passing yards. Is 227.5 if we wanted to check that out. Which that feels lower for Purdy.
Yeah, I don't know if I can. It sounds stupid to say, but that I like attempts and not yards as much. But Seattle defense scares me, man. I've been a huge Seattle fan all year.
I mean, I can't say that I'm against you there. So at 227.5, let's filter for 30 plus attempts. I mean, that's really green.
Very
Like
consistent.
260 plus. It's not even close to that 227. I feel like if we like the attempts and it's not an option to add attempts, we'd be foolish. Do we want to just add the 227.5? Do we want to just take 200 for a safe third leg or ladder to 250? I'd say that's the question.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably just go as baseline. Honestly, his baseline has a bunch of green here, So
Yeah.
All
But
right,
we just need this as a third leg, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So FanDuel's letting me get 25 on this at plus 1380. So I'll get that on the screen as well. And I think should we call it? Should we be responsible here and call it at 3 parlays?
yeah, works for
We
me.
can.
All right, I'll get that on the screen, and then whatever questions you guys have left in the chat, throw them in there. But other than that, Stu, appreciate you big time for joining us on here. We've given you a lot of sneaky shout outs in the stream, so people are familiar with you. You got a lot of fans in the show here.
Well, I appreciate that. I feel like we all kind of look at a lot of the same general stuff, a lot of the advanced stats, the breakdowns there. So it's good to finally make it on here. Hopefully we do it again soon.
Of course,
Definitely.
man. And I don't think I got the other parlay on the screen as well. So let me get that one.
Also, there's a guy in the chat that's asked about Bo Nix rushing yards like 50.
I keep seeing it and forgetting it. I'm so sorry. Thank you so much for calling it out. JJ, you were talking with me about Bo Nix rushing earlier, weren't you?
Yeah. I mean, Buffalo's been doing pretty good getting pressure throughout the entire season. I think pressure to sack ratio is pretty good, but I mean, big indicator for Bo Nix to just go out and run. It's probably going to be pressure. I mean, he scrambles a ton on it. I think with Ed Oliver back, I feel like they're going to like force him out the pocket a little bit, depending on how well the edge rushers do. So I think that could set up for, because I think it's at 25.5 right now. I think he's set up like around 30-ish yards or so. And I mean, he gets about 6 to 8 attempts per game right now, somewhere around there, maybe.
His attempts line is slightly juiced under 5.5. His yards are 25.5.
Yeah.
Also, I saw a good note from my former boss, Ryan Noonan, over at 4for4. Bo Nix ended the year with 3 designed runs in 3 straight games as well. So not only is he getting scrambles, but you have some designed runs in there. I like it. The only thing is Bo Nix had opened at like 20 and is up to 25. So I don't love like chasing the steam as much there, but I like the look.
I feel like younger
that's a lean for me.
Yeah, I feel like younger quarterbacks too, when it's their first few games in the playoffs, especially when they're the favorite, their nerves are a little higher, their adrenaline's a little higher. They're probably more willing to just tuck it and run. So I'm with you guys. I think Bo Nix rushing does make a lot of sense. Another one that's been requested in the chat a lot that I keep missing, Tyler Beatty. I actually don't have
no idea
read on him at all. I've seen people talking about him, like there is sharp analysis out there, but I'm not just going to jack somebody else's analysis when it's something that I don't agree nor disagree with. It's just kind of there. So I'll see if I can find anything that I can share while we're talking here of something that's super sharp, but there's nothing that I'm willing to stamp my flag on related to Tyler Beatty in this one.
I mean, it would just have to be receiving yards. He plays third, long down and distance play. Like that's maybe a little 2-minute drill, I guess, but his only role is really pass blocking because RJ Harvey catches passes, but he's not really a good blocker. McLaughlin kind of iffy. So he's going to be on there on passing snaps. So maybe that's what you look at, but I don't think any real books have his receiving props, but that's where I would lean if I had to go anywhere. But I'm just not going to. Why would you go out of your way to bet on him in a playoff game? Like that's a week 18 bet. You know what I mean? That's like a maybe throw $25 on it, but he's going to play 10 snaps in this game. You know, like just kind of marginal.
I just looked
Just
up
rolling the dice.
I just looked up his name on Twitter. And you know how have you guys used Outlier before for the research processes?
Yeah.
So they have a page that's like it's all automated, but it's like, oh, this guy is over this line in 10 straight home games. And it's always like a minus 300 prop. But I guess they have a bot that posted one to Twitter. Tyler Beatty has failed to exceed a touchdown in 19 straight games. Take his under 0.5 touchdowns at minus 3,900.
There's a walk.
Yeah, so if you're looking for sharp Tyler Beatty analysis, there you go. But yeah, I wish we could be more helpful there, but I'd rather be unhelpful than give out just bad information. Do we not like RJ for 53.5 yards? We are in split on the stream. It's hard to. He hasn't been great running the ball this year. I will concede that, but I think he's a very explosive back in a good system. And if it clicks for even 5 plays, he's probably threatening that line already. But it's not something where you're like, oh, he's going to get 20 carries in between the tackles and it's going to look good for all 20 carries. It's not going to be that. What about Brock Purdy over 19.5 rushing yards? He's got wheels. And people have been talking about it a little bit since last year, but it's his rushing line always feels low to me. The issue is I feel like the Seahawks are going to be pretty good at defending on the back end, so it could force him to run a little bit. I could see that. Evan Ingram, his role has been weird to me all year. I haven't been excited to bet him. I don't think Sean Payton likes Evan Ingram that much.
He was supposed to be his Joker. You know, that was the thing people were saying. But yeah, no, I lean over on receptions. Just I think his kind of like the theoretical role that he would have is good here. But like you said, his usage hasn't been consistent. They called up some random 6'7" rookie tight end. I don't know if you guys caught that one to be active for the first time all year. So that was weird to me. I was kind of curious about that. I'm like, maybe this guy gets a freaking red zone snap. I don't know. But yeah, they just don't really like Evan Ingram that much. But in theory, he should. He makes sense on how to attack this defense. I don't have enough confidence to actually bet it.
I agree. If you've watched Evan Ingram for the last 3 years and then you just look at his betting lines and this one, you're like, oh, he's on the Broncos lead tight end. His lines will look good to you every week, I promise. But then once you dive into it, the more you dive into it, the more you doubt it, even if it is a good play. That's usually how every week goes when I try and research Evan Ingram props.
Also, I don't see DraftKings posting this guy. Maybe it's a conspiracy. I don't even remember his name, but I'm trying to find this tight end now at 70-1, you know, but
let's check this. This reminds me of when we were looking for Dan Skipper odds.
Oh boy. Well, they called up this guy and they called up what's his face, the other slot receiver, Elijah Moore, I believe, because trying to get some inside info, or because he played for the Bills for 9 games this year.
Yep.
But, okay, his name is Caleb Lohner, and oh my god, dude, he's only 8 plus 850. What are we doing?
What?
I scrolled to the bottom and he's
serious?
not there. That's insane. Best price is Bet Rivers 13-1, which is still a bad price as well.
He's
That's
absolutely
crazy.
getting the first touchdown, isn't he?
This is insane.
Spell the last name for me.
Lohner.
Okay, the H. Yeah, what? Plus 850 on FanDuel, DraftKings, ScoreBet.
It looks like he might not even be active. He got called up from the practice squad, but now it's the on-field reporters are saying it's looking like he's not dressed up to play. Okay. Why is he only 850? They saw a 6'7" dude and just instantly made it the worst price possible. That's crazy, dude.
They said we've seen the Sean Payton movie before. We know what to do.
Honestly. That's crazy.
Hilarious. So do we like Purdy pass attempts more or passing yards more? We like attempts more, but we can't put it in the parlay. Let me put the parlay back on the screen. They won't allow you to put it in SGP, so we took his yards because he hits his yards in pretty much every game with he even comes close to those attempts. What else? I can only get Pat Bryant at 3.5. It's still worth it. Just take receiving yards instead. That's my official play, just because the over 2.5 receptions was too juiced to play as an official play. But yeah, just take yards if it's at 3.5. Any thoughts on Keon Coleman? I knew he was going to be the most popular question in this stream. He's going to be on the field. It's just a horrendous matchup, and he's not a great separator. So I feel like if he does get targets, it's going to be kind of forced, and I'm not so sure how much I want to bet on that efficiency. But he is used a lot against blitz. So if Denver does blitz, his target rate against the blitz is surprisingly decent. It's just a matter of if they're going to actually utilize that or not. I think that's everything. We covered all the questions. We got the parlays locked in. I'll post these all to the MC Analytics Twitter and probably my Dr. Profit Twitter as well for anybody that didn't get all these locked in yet. But other than that, let's have some fun watching football. I don't know what time the game, if it starts at 1 or 4:30 tomorrow, but we'll get something out for tomorrow as well. We appreciate you guys for watching and engaging the chat. JJ, appreciate you as always for jumping on. Stu, appreciate you big time for joining us today. Good luck today, everybody, and we will see you guys on the next video and or stream.